I think we will get into the intricacies of skin bleaching and the different nuances that exist between wanting a light skin and wanting to be dark skin. I think we'll do that a little bit later. But for now, we're still trying to determine what exactly was the basis for you starting your business ventures. I think I'd like you guys to elaborate on that so that we can understand as well.
I think for me was the discovery that natural, 100% pure organic natural products have got their own travel system to penetrate to the dermis, which is the inner layer of the skin. And because everywhere where I had scarring, my skin is quite keloidy. So keloids, it looks like you've gotten burnt, or it's excess tissue on the skin. But with using argan oil, the cold pressed argan oil, you can hardly see. My scars are actually flat. And you can actually feel the penetrative effect. Even when you wake up, your skin is very subtle. Same as the scalp. Your scalp is moist. And that's what really fueled my passion to bring out these natural products, because when we started, there was nothing that was 100% pure organic in the market. In first world countries like Japan, America, they've got organic aisles. So they do have your cold pressed argan oils, raw shea butter. So they are already there. So I saw a niche in the market and I took advantage of it.
What was the question again?
The question was, what is the basis of your research interest for you to actually want to get into the type of business that you went into? There's some experience that you went through to actually want to get
personally
there.
And
business-wise.
Yeah,
Yes.
so like I said, I'm a media and marketing strategist by trade, and I became quite fascinated by the consumer behavior and the patterns of African female consumers, and not just South African. My approach is Pan-African, so I travel quite a lot to explore what communities like this look like in Angola, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana. And by the way, these conversations, this dialogue, these words, the issues, the love you're feeling for your natural hair, your transitioning journey away from chemicals and weaves, your African sisters are doing it in every town, in every dorp, in every township across the continent. You are not alone. The conversation is real. And I think the more I discovered that, and standing myself, my own personal experience, you're standing in a Clicks aisle, or you go to a salon, and the salon wants to sell you red Ken at 350 Rand a bottle, and you know that this is for white hair. And then you go to Clicks, and you have very cheap petroleum-based, silicone-based products that are $29.99, soft and lovely, and it's too heavy, it's too greasy, it's not really solving any of your scalp or hair problems. And I thought, why is there nothing in the middle? Why is there nothing for me as a mixed race South African? Why is there nothing for my friends who have African curls and coils? And yet, when I looked at the American market was flooded with products. They had aisles and aisles. They have stores, actual retail stores, purely dedicated to African hair. And I decided to come home and make a range myself, and with the help of Prof's colleague, Professor Ncoza Dlova, and her trichologists at the UCT Hair and Skin Institute. We roped in the help of two very young, innovative biochemists who are based in Cape Town, who are manufacturing biochemists. So they were able to help me design the ranges. And what we said was we wanted something that was proudly South African, using South African products, packaged in South African glass, something that was such good quality, that had no petroleums, no parabens, no sulfates, no silicones, something that when you use the range, it did what it said it was going to do. So efficacy and testing was all a part of our brand journey. And it really came, a lot of it was driven by the fact that I was the consumer. I would stand in a Clicks aisle and not have any product speak to me. The products were either being dumbed down, assuming that I was stupid enough to use petroleum or Vaseline on my hair, or the products were so expensive and designed for Caucasian hair that they weren't effective on me. So a lot of my journey has been very personalized. Personalization is a very big marketing tool for us because we need you to understand as the consumer that we are you and the product is made for you.
Thank you so much. In order to do that, there needs to be some sort of manufacturing process, right? So after you research, I think you all did various researches and whatnot. How has that research contributed to your product development? I think specifically, Taryn and Relebohile, how has that research contributed to your product development? I mean, you were talking about basic petroleum things and all these different chemicals that go into building or creating a product. Relebohile, I know you own a manufacturing plant. You manufacture your own products. Could you particularly just explain that? I think it's called agro-processing. Is there a difference between agro-processing and manufacturing? I think we need to determine that first.
Okay, agro-processing talks to the transformation of a raw material. So in our instance, it would be like an agar nut. So we cold press. That's the agro-processing part. So transforming it from just a nut into a semi-finished product, which is an oil, or a final product, which in our case is our final product, the cold press argan oil. So that's agro-processing. It's just, it also refers to forestry and fisheries. Yes.
So it's different to manufacturing.
It's different to manufacturing.
How exactly are the two processes different?
Because manufacturing can talk to chemicals, which my colleague is involved in, but agro-processing, it's just the transformation from a raw material into a semi-finished good or a final product.
Taryn, could you speak to your product development process, please?
So I have what we call a low fixed cost business model. If you're a young brand in a very competitive category like mine, the last thing you want to do is start out by investing all your money into a factory and a packing plant and converting your raw materials and your products, getting them to shelf, warehousing. You can imagine the millions that would go into developing that type of footprint. So my supply chain is predominantly outsourced, which means I have a very low monthly cost in terms of overhead. I make use of a preferred partner who has a biochemist manufacturing plant. We then convert the raw material into a packed finished item that has already gone through stability testing and all the necessary CTFA regulated materials have been involved. So we tend to tick all of the production boxes, but I don't have to own that part of the supply chain, especially in a recessive economy like this. For me, manufacturing at that end of the supply chain is outsourced. I then take my converted finished item and I warehouse and dispatch it according to how fast I can sell and replenish the 200 doors that we service. So for me, manufacturing is left to be done by the specialists who have got maybe 100 clients like me to ensure that he's covering his monthly overhead. So that's something for you guys thinking about going into the cosmetics industry. It's not always the ideal to own every single element of your supply chain. Sometimes it's smarter to invest in the elements of the supply chain that you're good at. So I'm good at taking the product to market. I'm good at managing the logistic in terms of merchandising, marketing, warehousing, that level. So for me, manufacturing is a skill I don't need to learn anytime in this lifetime, but because you can buy that. Okay, so yes, that is one business model, and it's one that's often underrated.
No, of course, absolutely. But say now, for instance, the process of the product is done, right? You mentioned that, I think everyone mentioned that you found a product that that didn't necessarily speak to your kind of skin or hair or whatever, and you needed something that spoke to you. You find you go to Clicks, you find that there's an expensive product that doesn't speak to your hair, doesn't speak to your skin, and then you find a cheaper product that is imported, yes, it's imported into the country, it's cheaper, but it's bad for your skin. Mama, you mentioned earlier that skin bleaching is something you're very passionate against, and you find that that particular product, the cheaper product, usually bleaches your skin. Do you think that necessitated the need for natural organic products to be made in the region or in South Africa?
I'm not sure if I get your question, but I'll try and respond. So, of course, hair products, that's one aspect, yes, and skin bleaching is another aspect. So we've also done research on skin bleaching, because what we found is that in the last maybe 5-6 years, patients were presenting to our clinics with complications of skin bleaching. I think but ukutshayisa apha Eastern Cape here. Ukutshayisa okanye ukrima ya. So obviously we are there as scientists and lecturers not to look down upon our consumers or their ignorance, but to inform and educate them. So we did a study to find out, excuse me, how many people knew that skin bleaching is dangerous, and how many people knew that the products that they buy have banned ingredients. Now, some of you have heard of hydroquinone, you've heard of mercury, you have heard of phenol, and you have heard of steroids, corticosteroids. Now, most corticosteroids have a great indication in dermatology. They are used to treat conditions like eczema. Some of you may have heard that or know that, and certain inflammation conditions. But sometimes when they are used on the skin, they make the skin lighter. So people use the steroids sometimes to treat acne because they don't know. Acne is pimples. Now, when you use steroids to treat acne or pigmentation, there's a pigmentation that you get on the cheeks, which is called melasma, or the pregnancy pigmentation. It's common in middle-aged women. Now, when you use steroids, it may clear and make your skin look nice and the pimples clear, but 3 months or 5 months down the line, you get a rebound effect and everything comes back and your skin becomes worse with pimples and becomes lighter. So when we did our study, we looked at about 1,000 women, and we found that 98% of them didn't know the complications of bleaching their skin. Now, the prevalence of skin bleaching in South Africa is about 33%. In the rest of Africa, like Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, it's about 67%. So, now remember, it's very hot then, people are much darker, and there's a reason for that, because the melanin is protecting you against the sun. South Africans are much lighter because the sun is not as strong as up central and north. So now, then they use the skin bleaching products. So they present with us now with darkening. We call it amashubaba, you call it amashubaba, yeah? But the dermatological term for it is ochronosis, okay? It's a pity I don't have pictures. I could have brought my PowerPoint slides. So, now that condition, when you have it, you are done. You never get rid of it. It's permanent. You are scarred. No laser or cream will get rid of it. So what worried me and concerned me was the fact that people didn't know that these products can cause this. And then I felt that's where education has to come in. Because when we do research, no point having your research published in a big journal, NEJM or Lancet, if it doesn't permeate or cascade down to the people, okay? So how do you know if someone is skin bleaching? So we asked all these women, why are you using skin bleaching creams and what are you using? And they told us, 1/3 of them said, I'm using skin bleaching creams because I have pigmentation. 1/3 said, I'm using skin bleaching creams because I've got acne. And the other group said, I'm using skin bleaching creams because I want to look lighter. Because I think when you are lighter, you are more prettier. You are more attractive. Right. So we then asked, what products are you using? We bought about 50 products from clinics, pharmacies, everywhere. The products included Cuticura, Gentle Magic, Movate, a whole lot of them. And then we analyzed them. So what we found then is that when the patients come to us now, how do you know if someone is bleaching their skin? You can see. We call it a hand-face test. If they put their hands against the face, the hand is darker than the face. And if you look at their knuckles, the knuckles are darker than this area because the cream doesn't get into these folds. If you look at their lips are darker. So I then supervised another master's student to find out why are these 30% of women who are just using these creams to look attractive. And we found that there were psychosocial issues. There was an element of low self-esteem because people feel that if you are more, you know the concept of colorism and all those issues that are out there. So we are again saying the best skin is the one that you were born with. And if you use these products, you're going to damage your skin forever. So we have a list of products which I can send to your organizers of the products that we analyze, and I'm not ashamed to name some of them. Products like Cuticura, which has mercury, products like Gentle Magic, which has phenol, and these are compounds, and there's a whole lot of them, Repair, Cutivate, Movate, and I think there's this orange one, Kerolite, which has got steroids. Looks like you've got that one in your cabinet. Is it in your bathroom? Yeah, so don't be ashamed. You can ask these things because most of you do these things because you don't know. And hence we are here to educate you. So that's what we found about skin bleaching creams. And I have a whole list of them. So when you can look at it and say, this you are not going to buy. And we try to be advocates for patients and the other interesting thing that we found, we looked at the labels of all these products, and it was like natural this, natural serum, natural placenta, natural this, and 80% of them were made here in South Africa. And yet hydroquinone is banned in South Africa, and mercury is banned in South Africa. In fact, a patient you can sue the company. If you analyze a product and you find that it's got mercury and it's not listed on the package, you can sue the company. It is your right to do that because now you've got damaged skin. It's just that South Africans sometimes are, we're not out there. Yeah, so I don't know if that's enough.
Yes.
Oh, okay.